Hey guys, Matty Miller, Pursuit Real Estate here. Hope you guys are doing well. And if you guys have been watching the news, you have seen the Fed just cut their rate by 25 basis points. So what does that mean for lower pricing heading into the fall and winter season on homes? And does the Fed always control what happens with the interest rates? And the answer, we're going to dive into that just here in a second. All right, guys. So one thing to keep in mind when we talk about what the Fed does in relation to interest rates, does it always correlate 100%? And the simple answer is no, it doesn't. Does it mimic what can happen? Of course it can. But also understand that the timing of that is different as well. So the Fed actually just recently cut theirs by 25 basis points with hints that there could be more on the way. But a lot of the times the interest rates have already adjusted prior to. So over the last month and a half, we've seen interest rates on the conventional side get to close to 6. FHA and VA are slightly below 6, 5.8, 5.7, somewhere in that ballpark. The interest rates have actually already kind of dropped based on what the Fed was going to do. So that's kind of already happened. But what does that have to do with pricing? It's not always the same thing. So pricing doesn't always immediately fall when interest rates do. They don't sync up 100%. And that's one thing and a lot of it has to do with the market, right? So our market in Jacksonville, Florida, and that's consistently the only one that I care about. Inventory, key thing, certain areas, different. St. Johns County, for example, currently has a lot of inventory because a lot of new builds were purchased in the last 2 or 3 years. So they have a lot of newer builds down there, more inventory, always constantly adding inventory. Parts of Duval County, not so much because there wasn't as much new construction inventory added to the market. So pricing, again, this is going to be a backward statement a little bit, is you really got to nail it down to the neighborhood and what area you're looking into. We have seen pricing consistently probably plateau and or in some areas start to fall. That isn't necessarily interest rates, because even though interest rates have dropped in the last 2-3 months, we haven't seen buyers come back into this market like we kind of thought we would. Historically, October is a really good month for us, and it's been kind of slow. So, and again, this is just honest answers. Talking to agents in the market, talking to friends who have been in the business for years. And this graph right here is new pending sales, guys, just so you can understand. And this is throughout the years. Obviously, the peak is in 2021. We will hit our lowest peak of how many deals we do. I'm almost assuredly 100% certain that we'll see it in October, November. We'll see the lowest amount of deals done that we've seen in the last probably 10 years. I can't even go 10 years. It actually only goes back 7 years. So we will see that lowest amount of deals in this winter break. So one of the things, so new pending sales, we have not seen buyers come back into the market. In our market, what that should mean is prices should start to fall again even more. Am I worried about a crash? I'm not. I'm worried about, there are going to be some people that are going to be stuck, no doubt. But for the most people, they're still going to be able to sell their home. They're just not making as much. Inventory wise, we talked about that. If you want to look at it, we're close to our highest amount of inventory that we've seen in a little while, basically probably since 2011, 2012. So we're seeing that we have the highest amount of inventory we had. Another contributing factor why our market is continuing to soften. So even though we've seen those interest rates drop, we haven't seen prices reflect it yet, but I do believe it is coming. So if you're a seller, probably sell now. If you're a buyer, this is good. This is a good thing for you, especially a first-time buyer entering the market. If you own a home, it's kind of potato. And you got to sell if you want to own or upgrade. Maybe you're losing a little bit of money on your actual home you have, but also you're paying less money to get into your next home. So that's kind of where you're at in the situation type of thing. But if you're a buyer, first-time buyer especially, this is good news for you. Affordability should start to get better heading into the winter and heading into the spring. And I do anticipate the spring to be a pretty solid market if you are looking to buy, as a lot of sellers are starting to, wouldn't say freak out, but get concerned and start to lower their prices very aggressively. So you have room to negotiate as a buyer. And if you are a first-time home buyer or a home buyer in general and you're looking, give me a shout. We can look at what that neighborhood may cost, what that house may cost, do a quick estimate for you and take a look at it. But if you have any questions, my name is Matty Miller with Pursuit Real Estate. We'll talk to you soon.